Welcome back to The Power and the Glory. Well, the term serve to lead is the motto of the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst. This is where you have to learn leadership skills by serving first as a soldier in order to become a commissioned British Army officer. But servant leadership isn't just the preserve of the military. It's a big part of what it takes to be a successful Christian leader. And Jesus said as much in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 20, verses 26 to 28. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first among you must become your slave. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others and to give his life as a ransom for many. So Jesus is a great example of servant leadership, the best example within the Bible. And his life was dedicated to healing and serving others. Jesus showed this type of leadership excellently when the disciples were arguing about who should sit at his side when he reached his throne in his kingdom. Now, James and John had asked for this position, but the other disciples, quite understandably, became angry and jealous that they'd done this. Jesus, in this instance, didn't get angry, as one might expect other leaders would. But instead, he washed the feet of his disciples, showing them that true selfless leadership was through serving others. Jesus' life was one of humble service and leadership. He was born in a stable in the most humble way. He lived his life as a man without the usual trappings of materialistic wealth and power that you'd see with a leader, helping, healing, and serving others. And his crucifixion was the most humble act of sacrifice and selfless leadership that the world has ever seen. His was a life dedicated to humanity, not ego. But few people these days seem to govern or lead in this way. All too often it's all about selfish virtue signaling and making promises and not delivering on them, particularly in the public sector. So it's now time for a new moral order, time for servant leadership, a leadership of community and team engagement, contribution and involvement of the wider community. In other words, a people-centered humanitarian leadership style where leaders start to put those they serve, like Jesus, above themselves. Let's end off with a scripture, Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 to 4. As Paul says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others."